It has been 4 years since Eggman was gone, and this entire world has been in peace. And especially in the Wolfpack Nation. Lyco, among her sister Lita, was highly happy that at least that their most worst enemy of all time, Eggman, was gone. Even though despite having they were now world peace, there were some other of the world pack now have returned to their old traditional ways, living as a farmers. Even though Lyco herself was wondering would there ever be another conflict in the future, and that they may have not been ready prepared for that. Even though their Grand Chief Lupe had tried to convince Lyco that it won't happen, since now they have world peace and the other nations cultures are agreed. If something would happen like that in the past, then now we're all being combined forces and now we'll be able to stop any future potential of a threat. Even though Lyco herself was actually at least happy that there was now peace and not had to be worrying about Eggman and his stupid try invading their homeland and or any other parts of the world, or at least not by constant attack by his robots. But after a while though, she started getting tired of living as a farmer of all time. So she had told Lupe that she will try to leave her home to do some exploration. Maybe go see some of their old friends back in New Metropolis. Which Lupe didn't mind, after all, since they were friends in that town, in the new capital of the kingdom of Acorn. Despite that, though, when she came to New Metropolis after about maybe 2 weeks of traveling, she was actually greeted by some of the old friends like Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and even Amy. But it was one of them actually that she had been looking forward to see, and that was her good friend Mina. Mina herself had ever since the peace had been happening, she had been main focus at to be a singer, and she was great at it. She had made several tours around the kingdom Acorn and other neighbor kingdoms. But now she decided to focus on her performance in New Metropolis, since that was her now new home. She was actually very happy to be seeing her old friend Lyco again. She wanted to know exactly what had happened back in the Wolfpack Nation, since they hadn't even been in touch over the past few months since after all, Mina had been quite busy with her performance, and Lyco herself has been kind of a bit busy with sense of farmer. Even though Lyco herself said that nothing much has happened back in the Wolfpack Nation, except that daily life wakes up in the sunlight, work on the field, look after the kids, look after the elderly, and go back to sleep every night. Almost the same routine. Even though there were no constant worrying about Eggman or any other enemy would attack, since they had been world peace for some quite some time, so why not being able to do so? Then Mina actually asked if Lyco wanted to go and see her performance, which Lyco said yes. She had only heard about Mina's performance, her shows, her tours on her travel. She would love to see it. And luckily for that, Mina was going to have a concert the same evening. She had invited some of her old friends across the kingdom, and that same evening, when Lyco went to this concert, she ran into Sonic, Amy, Tails, and Knuckles. They all sat down on the same place. And as the concert started, Mina greeted her friends and her fans and everyone to welcome to the concert. And the next moment she started. As she was singing, Lyco couldn't stop looking at Mina. After all, Mina was a very beautiful and well a famous celebrity, but there was something about her, her charisma, her beauty, but her personality was of such great impact, not only for the rest of her fans, but herself. She then realized she had fallen in love with Mina. Even despite this, she may not have no idea what to do. After all, she really didn't know exactly what to do though. And even after the concert was over, Sonic and Tails went up to Mina to talk to her and thanked her for the concert and they said they had a great time. But Lyco, she pretended she was tired and just wanted to go back home and go back to her place where she's staying and get some sleep. Which the others didn't mind. After all, it was quite late, about 9 p.m., and the concert was over. But the next day, Lyco went to see Princess Sally, who is now the Queen Sally of the Kingdom of Acorn, along with Sonic as her husband. She wanted to have some advice from Sally, what they like to do, and if there's something that you should pursue as relationship with Mina. Or despite that, since Mina is quite famous, and if Lyco would have any chance with her, there might be others who might more, maybe that she is already dating someone. But when she talked to Sally, and even Sonic, who was later became aware about this, about Lyco's feelings for Mina. But there were a lot of things when Lyco tried to explain that it wasn't her, it was someone else. But Sally actually did convince that it wasn't someone else, and that in fact was Lyco. And even though Lyco confessed it was in fact her, but she will only wanted to have some information, or at least an advice on what to do. If her feelings are real, or if there are maybe something else. And of course, Mina was told by Sally that if she has a strong feeling for Mina, and for Mina, she should tell her, or at least maybe try to express her feelings for her some way, or somehow. Even though Sonic himself had become more mature over time, he said it best for telling you it is best for you is to tell her how you really feel, even the risk with you getting rejected from her. Even though that was a word Sonic was at a point in, because she wouldn't know exactly for sure if Mina liked her, or if that she liked girls in any way. But that's the only thing she had to do so, and that in fact was to telling, at least by to telling Mina how she feels. And since Lyco was going to stay in New Metropolis for at least a couple of weeks, which would have given her time to figure out a way to do so. And since Mina had just recently ended a tour and she was now going to rest for the next couple of weeks in town and do some smaller concert. But other than that, she was okay though. But after a couple of days of thinking about this, Rico actually had thought maybe that what if that she takes Mina out for lunch and they talk, and maybe then she can maybe try to bring the right words how to express her feelings for Mina. And when she asked Mina about this, and she actually looked up that. So by the next day, both Mina and Lyco actually went to a small restaurant in town where they had some lunch. At first, they talked mostly about her tours and other kingdoms and things that they have been up to since the world peace had entered. Even though during time when Even Lyco wanted to tell Mina, but at the same time, she couldn't even bring herself to do so. And since the lunch would probably be over soon, she wanted to do so. So Lyco took the brave enough the courage and told Mina how she really felt. Or at least, she expressed her feelings for her and waited for Mina's reaction. But Mina, she didn't even laugh or even say anything. She was just looking at Lyco and Lyco. And she just looked at her. Mina didn't say a word. She in fact started crying. She believed that Mina didn't like her the same way, or maybe that's what the reason why she didn't say anything. And then Lyco just stood up and ran away from the restaurant and went to her small place where she stayed at. And Mina, she still stood there, puzzled, stunned of all. She really didn't know what to do. She didn't expecting anything like this. Later that same day, though, Lyco went back to the palace to talk with Sally and Sonic. She told them that she had told Sally and Mina about her feelings. And Sonic asked, though, what was her reaction? What did she say? But Mina didn't say anything. She didn't say a word. She just looked at me without anything else. So I just left. I ran away from that. That was very strange, though. I mean, I have known Mina for at least several years, but I had never expected that kind of reaction. Me either, said Sally. But I decided I am going back to Wolfpack Nation by tomorrow morning. Wait, are you taking this for a little bit drastic now, aren't you? Said Sally. What if that Sally? What if Mina do love you, and you are going back to your old home, and that you don't even give her a chance to tell you, or at least reveal her feelings, have a chance or to tell you? But Lyco, as that he was well trained, as you, since she used to be a spy, but she decided that maybe it was best for the best. Even though Sally tried to convince Mina Lyco to stay so that Mina could talk to her, but during that same night, Lyco left New Petropolis middle of the night without anyone saw him. Even by the morning, Mina was actually still have been puzzled by what Lyco told her. But as she went to see her, she wasn't even there. She later found out that Lyco had left and went back to her ancestral home of Wolfpack Nation. Mina, though, she was like devastated. She was in fact in love with Lyco, at least for quite some time. Some of the songs that she had been written actually was based on her feelings for Lyco. When Lyco returned home, Lupe was a bit surprised to see her and asked how her time was in New Metropolis. She said that was okay, that she was happy to see her old friends, and she got homesick and she just wanted to come back home. And Lupe didn't ask more about that. And for the next couple of days, things between Lida and Lyco was a bit strange though, because Lyco, she didn't speak much. She would just wake up in the early morning, take care of her duties and her chores, and other than that, they didn't speak much. But one day, Lida received a message from Mina. Mina was told Lida she was in fact coming over for a visit. She hasn't always wanted to see their ancestral home of was the new agent of Wolfpack Nation, and that she requested that she didn't tell her twin sister about this because she wanted to make it as a big surprise. So Lita didn't tell her, but she made sure that Lyco did find the letter. She burned it just to make sure that her sister wouldn't find it either. And then the day came when Mina arrived. She was really impressed to see how beautiful the Wolfpack Nation's home was. Even Lita was really surprised to see her, even though she knew when both Lyco and Lita was on the field when they saw her. Lita, since she already knew about this, she acted really well how that Mina had just appeared. Lyco was shocked, as before Mina could say any word to her, she just stood up, turned around, and walked away. She claimed that she had another George to take care of. The rest of that particular day, though, Lyco avoided Mina of all costs because she didn't know exactly why Mina had even came to Wolfpack Nation of all places. Even Lita tried to convince her to talk to Mina for at least for once to maybe ask her why she's there. Mina actually told Lyco when they managed to talk that she was there in fact for a visit. She has always wanted to see their home, and she could see how much both Lyco and Lita loved their home. This beauty was beyond anyone's dreams. Even both Lyco and Lita they thanks for the compliment about their home. But the main reason why she was been there was the fact that she had fallen in love with Lyco, and that she was never given a chance of telling her when she just ran away from the restaurant. And now she was there. Mina asked Lyco if she wanted to be her girlfriend. Lyco was all surprised, but she said that she didn't know, and she said that her feelings for Mina may have been gone. Since she returned, she hadn't even think much about Mina at all. She had honestly actually started thinking about maybe it was just a phase she went through. And when Mina heard that, it broke her heart. But later, as she was standing there, she was terribly shocked. She said, Lyco, you can't really mean it, do you? You have been in love with Mina for so long, and just returning home and saying you don't love her anymore because what you said to her, and now she's here asking you to be her girlfriend, and you were just saying that you don't love her anymore? What kind of person are you? You're not the same as you were before after the war. Lyco, she said, maybe that's the reason. The war was so scary. Maybe as I'm still scared of all these things. She said. She started even crying. I still like her, I do. But I'm scared how this relationship will even work, if it's going to be work at all. Because she lives back in the kingdom of Acorn and we live here, so far away from each other. And she travels a lot. She's a world's known singer. And Mita, she had no idea what except to say except Lyco, I understand what you feel. If I lived here and you lived in if you were a singer and I lived back home, it would have been the same thing for me. Do you think I would have tried to do anything as possible for us to maintain our relationship, even this long distance? Baliku said, maybe, but I do love you. But I'm not sure how this relationship will work. But Mina said with a smile, I'm willing to do anything to make sure that our relationship works. After those words, Lyco gave Terry the chance to be today together, which one day she wouldn't even regret it. because after nearly 4 years of being dating, Mina and Lyco were still together, and despite that in fact they lived in two different places at first, but Mina had actually started thinking about either move to Wolfpack Nation, even though that Lyco was willing to move back, living in New Metropolis. And in fact, Lyco moved to Kingdom of Acorn to be with Mina. Even despite when Mina was on her tours, Lyco remained at home. But just before they are on their fourth anniversary, Lyco actually proposed to Mina, and they even had a wedding just shortly before Mina's next tour was happening. Even though despite that she was going to have a tour, she managed to delay it with at least a couple of days so that she and Lyco could have a small honeymoon together. And just only barely 4 years later, after that, they actually adopted two daughters of their own, two wolf cubs from Wolfpack Nation. And that was something both Mina and Lyco couldn't have wished better for. If Lyco had even traveled to Metropolis, she would never have found, or at least fallen in love with Mina, and Mina herself may not have even having found out a way to telling Lyco, and they would have missed out their true purpose of the meeting being together. And this is how Lyco and Mina Mongoose for the true love are gonna family together. The end.